topic. Which sectors within SMEs and microcaps look attractive right now?
So to talk about sector, one sector which we are really bullish on is BESS. BESS basically stands for Battery Energy Storage System. What I truly believe is India is going to be experiencing BESS revolution over the next 5 to 10 years. What we need to understand is where India stands in terms of BESS capacity versus US.
Hello everyone and welcome to Market Pillars Uncovered on Money TV. Today's educational episode puts the spotlight behind the market pillars that drive India's financial transformation. Today we have with us Mr. Raghav Chaudhary. He's the founder of Tiger Assets and he certainly is a dynamic Indian investor who is closely associated with investor education. He's also engaging with investors and certainly is a market pillar. On today's episode, we'll be putting the spotlight on SMEs and microcaps. We'll be talking about how to identify them, what are the key virtues and parameters, how to find multi-baggers within this space, as well as what are some of the interesting sectors and the pre-IPO opportunities. So let's dive in and get straight to it. Welcome to the show, Raghav. Thank you so much for joining in. You are so young, you make me feel old. So tell us a little bit about your journey, how you even got into this space and how within such a short time frame you've established yourself so well within the equity markets.
Thank you, Avanne. Thank you, Money TV, for having me today. It's a privilege to be here. So, to talk about my career, basically it all started while I was at, Future Group.
Okay.
I simultaneously started investing and trading into equities.
How old were you?
That time I was 22.
Okay.
Yeah, so 21, young. 22. Yeah. So, there was that hunger to, build a bank balance basically, to earn that extra income.
Okay.
So I decided to, start investing and trading across equities in 2016. During the 2017, we saw a massive bull run in Indian equities, where I kind of made around 8 to 10x returns, which made me quite overconfident about knowing everything about equities. But come 2000 start of 18, we saw a massive downfall in Indian equities due to the ILFS scam, change of mutual fund scheme, and LTCG, which saw a huge downfall of approx 50 to 80% across the SME and small cap space. In turn, it actually eroded all of my profit which I had made in 2017. So it was kind of a big setback, but I would say a reality check as well as a sweet lesson for me, which made me, set myself aside from the equities. For next 2 years, I just, observed how the markets function. Come the COVID 2020, while everyone was at home, I finally decided to pursue equities full time. That's when I decided that I should be exploring, my passion, my hunger, my vision, my skill, my knowledge towards equities full-fledged. Sitting in 2025, last 5 years, God has been kind. I have catered to over 1500 plus clients. My PMS fund is about to launch. Over the past 2 years, I have ran investment banking services where I have closed mandates worth few hundreds of crores. Plus, today I'm an individual investor, participated in 20 plus preferential opportunities, private and public. And of course, we also offer investor relations services to the promoters requiring guidance with respect to catering investor community. And also one unique thing what I've tried to do as a entrepreneur and something unique in this market is run Tiger Conclave, which I keep exclusively on Sundays at 11 a.m. with small cap companies which are basically hidden gems.
Okay.
That has you won't believe, that has attracted literally 150 to 200 investors online. Over the past 1 year, I've held 15 to 20 odd Tiger Conclave webinars.
That's amazing. Such an inspiring journey. So even on Sundays, you don't rest. Clearly, you're working because it's your passion. But I want to get away from your journey, which has been nothing short of pretty remarkable, and talk about, the SME landscape, the micro caps as well. Just talk to us about how vast this opportunity is and what investors need to look at.
So today, SMEs are being treated as quite strategic in terms of India's growth story. To say, there are 780 plus companies listed across the SME exchanges, be it BSE or NSE, having a market capitalization of 1,85,000 crores. Out of that, you would be stunned to know that 140 plus companies are envisioning 100% growth in their capital work in progress. Capital work in progress basically means any and every company is undergoing a large capex which they are foreseeing over next 2 to 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it is certainly a massive opportunity, and I'm sure a lot of investors say, hey, I want a part of that pie, I want to be a part of this opportunity. So for an investor, what are some of the first steps that they need to take to identify these opportunities within the SME space?
At Tiger Assets, we have robust internal processes set for identification of any idea. We emphasize on uniqueness and competitive mode of any company, whereby it aligning with the thematic trend. It ensures stupendous performance across the business growth as well as valuation re-rating. Just to give you an example, we had identified a company at 250 odd crore market cap when it was only clocking a PAT of 5 crores 2 years back. That time the company had announced a huge capex in a trending sector which was seeing surplus expenditure from the government side. And today the same company is clocking 130 crores PAT.
Wow.
And is in position to clock 600 crores of PAT in next 2 years of time. So these are the kind of companies we try to identify.
Really generating that alpha, in some of these companies that would perhaps be, overlooked by the rest of the market, and that's what you're really capturing. But, given that you have this robust process in place, take us through what are some of the green flags in a company that excites you, that, makes you say, okay, I'm going to zero it down to this one. What would be that checklist?
So talking about the green flags, we normally see, the quality and integrity of the promoter, the business's niche products, having a addressable market size, and most importantly, the right set of disciplined capital allocation done by the company, which ensures the foreseeable growth as envisioned by the promoter.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so important to zero in on some of these very important factors. But then on the other hand, you can really get your fingers burnt with opportunities like this. So what are the red flags that you would watch out for, that you say, I don't want to touch this company with a barge pole?
Talking about the red flags, I mean, there are 2 to 3 particular, things which we see is corporate governance. In case there are any judicial legal issues against the promoter or the company, or there are any interrelated party transactions of the company, then irregular exchange filings, where company is not filing their financials from time to time, or they are initiating changes in their financials from time to time. And most importantly, when a promoter is over promising but under delivering, where the promoter gives aggressive projections but there is no execution on ground. So that is where a big red flag is.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've seen so many of these cases now coming to light, well-established companies as well that have had corporate fraud issues, etc. So it's very important to have that checklist in place. But when it comes to IPO-bound companies, does that checklist of red flags and green flags change?
So that is why, we believe in silent doers than noisy storytellers.
Absolutely. Those who actually are proving their, their worth via their actions. Now, it's very important, of course, to have this checklist in place. But when it comes to these pre-IPO companies or these IPO-bound companies, does the checklist for red flags and green flags change?
With respect to IPO-bound companies, all we are available with is the DRHP.
Yeah.
There, what we emphasize on is the promoter background, where we try to do the scuttlebutt from the peers in the same industry. We try to see what the funds are being raised for and where it is being utilized. And also we try to see is the investor quality, the investors who must have participated in the pre-IPO round or coming in the anchor. I think that gives us a good feeler about IPO bound companies. And where if we compare it with the listed, 1 year or 2 year down the line post listing, what we need to see is what the promoter and the company had promised at that time and how they have delivered over the last 1 to 2 years. Have they kept their promises with respect to their performance delivery? And as on date, how their valuations are matching up with their peers, listed peers.
Yeah, because so many of them have just some out of whack valuation. So it's very important to really look at all of these parameters. But while entry into stocks is relatively easy, I think it's the exit that's got everyone with a lot of questions. So when it comes to the art of exiting, what is it that you advise? When to book your profits, when to cut your losses, or do you just stay put?
So with respect to exits, what we see is, in case there are, a sudden fundamental change in companies due to the sectoral expenditure being brought down by the government. So we definitely analyze and reassess the investment decision. Or if we attain the targeted returns well within our estimated time, we try to exit the stock, well before. And yeah.
So you're quite ruthless when it comes to exits.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. If we were to get a little bit specific, which sectors within SMEs and microcaps look attractive right now?
So to talk about sector, one sector which we are really bullish on is BESS. BESS basically stands for Battery Energy Storage System. What I truly believe is India is going to be experiencing BESS revolution over the next 5 to 10 years. What we need to understand is where India stands in terms of BESS capacity versus US and China. Today, US capacity of BESS is at 30 gigawatt, where it is anticipated to climb up to 160 gigawatt by 2030. China's BESS capacity is at 100 gigawatt. It is anticipated to climb up to 300 gigawatt. Whereas you will be surprised to know India's BESS capacity is only at 350 megawatt. It is anticipated to climb up to 150 gigawatt by 2030. That is a mammoth 500 times increase. So you can imagine the tailwind the sector is going to be experiencing. What I would like to also share, this movement of this sector had started in 2020 when the government had announced an ambitious 2030 target of 500 gigawatt from renewable energy. Also, the government has announced several policies which are helping the BESS sector to namely the ESO and the VGF. ESO stands for basically Energy Storage Obligation, where anywhere a renewable energy project is being put, it has been made mandatory to put a BESS infrastructure, which in turn ensures grid stability and continuous power supply. With respect to VGF, it stands for Viability Gap Funding, where government has said any company which is putting up a BESS capex, they would be supporting it with 30% funding.
Okay.
And you would be surprised to know that government has already approved sanctioning of 3,500 crores towards BESS. So basically, what is BESS and why BESS? BESS stands for Battery Energy Storage System. BESS is that giant battery which stores the excess energy during the day, which comes out from the solar or the wind, and in turn it supplies this energy when there is less or no output from the renewable sources like wind, or solar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's an interesting space, and like you said, that the growth opportunity or the tailwind within this sector is really looking promising. If we were to move on and talk about the pre-IPO preliminary market, can you just explain to those who don't know what exactly this is?
Pre-IPO opportunities, I mean, it is a quite interesting space,
Okay.
which I have personally experienced over the last 2 years. What it basically means is a private company promoter is coming up to a merchant banker or a ultra HNI and wanting to raise funds in the private market just before going for IPO. They normally envision to go for IPO in 6 months to 1 year time. Why is it lucrative why investors find it lucrative is because normally the private funding happens at a quite attractive and a reasonable valuations as compared to vis-a-vis with the listed peers in the same sector. Just to give you an example, a mandate which I was running and which I completed 1 year back. 1 year back I did a pre-IPO of a company at 100 crore market cap, and in 6 months time we had filed the IPO at 170 crore market cap. That's a 70% premium filing. You're able to do that courtesy the company delivering the envisioned numbers and performance.
That's a solid premium, and I'm sure a lot of investors would want to participate in this. So how can retail investors also be a part of this?
So retail investors, need to be aware about, the merchant bankers or the large investors, or they can simply, approach Tiger Assets.
Okay, so that was a nice plug that you got in there. When it comes to social media today, there is just so much information that is available everywhere you look. Our phone is like our 11th finger. But it is very important that when you are putting your hard-earned money in, that you don't get carried away with this information. So what is the messaging that you want to send out to investors in terms of filtering the information that is available in so much abundance today?
And my 2 cents to investors on this would be to avoid, investing behind tips rather than to understand the stocks which are being shared on social media and do their own research by themselves and own due diligence, and then take a decision to invest.
Absolutely. Just falling for these kind of tips is absolutely lethal. So it's definitely important to do your own homework, and there are trusted experts, and they should definitely be following that. So Raghav, as we're coming to the end of this interview, tell us about what your weekends look like. Is it all about DRHPs and is it all about balance sheets, or do you unwind and relax? What do you do in your free time?
So as much as I like to, keep working hard, to keep succeeding at my work, whatever the task is, I'm on it. I also, like to unwind during the weekends. I like to, meet my friends, go out for a few trips, chill with family and watch some OTT. Yeah, and of course, I do like to do some work as well. Yeah.
Okay, so you're very addicted to your work. I hope your trips and your family time is not involved talking about pre-IPOs and about, work all the time, right?
Currently, little bit it is. I won't lie.
So you're 31, you're living the hustle life, and you really want to make it, and you are doing just that. So congratulations. Thank you so much, Raghav, for opening our eyes to microcaps, to the SME world, identifying opportunities. You've really spoken about the importance of that as well as doing your homework. So thank you for joining in.
Thank you, Avanne. Thank you to Money TV for having me. It's been a pleasure.
All right, and it's been an absolute pleasure interacting with Raghav. I hope you enjoyed watching the interview as much as I did conducting it. That's all on this episode. We've had quite a few insights. Do remember to share what your key takeaway has been, and also remember to subscribe to Money TV. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next episode.